to the East Bridgewater School Committee meeting of September 20th, 2022. At this time, I take a motion to open this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda.
Second.
Second by Lauren. All in favor?
Aye.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time, Liz, the superintendent, would like to say a few words.
Good evening. I just want to take a moment to bring our attention to some former school employees, teachers here in the district, if I may. Bill Smith was a history teacher here in East Bridgewater for over 30 years here at the high school. He became a fixture in the community and continued to service his community and town through volunteer work and fundraising long after his retirement in 2006. I was lucky enough to work with Mr. Smith with the Ann Keneally Hines group and the foundation that we have for them, and they've done a terrific job. And I actually had lunch with Mr. Smith, and maybe some of you have had him in class, and I don't think I've ever heard him say a bad word. He was very funny. I don't think anybody's ever said a bad word about him, but I just wanted to take a moment just to tell his family and send him our respects on behalf of the school committee and on behalf of the school district of East Bridgewater. Let them know he is will not be forgotten here at the East Bridgewater Public Schools.
He passed away?
Yes.
I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we also lost another member of the community, the teaching community here in East Bridgewater over this past weekend. In 2004, 2005, Lisa Nussbaum was hired as an assistant to our Title I program as an assistant at Central School. In the following year, late 2004, 2005, that middle of the year, she took over as a grade 1 maternity leave. In 2005 to 2006, Dr. Gina Williams recommended to Dr. Margaret Stroney for her to be hired as a grade 2 teacher at the Central School. Mrs. Nussbaum passed away this last weekend. Her letter was dated June 25th, 2020, stated to me that she intended to retire on June 30th. And I remember talking to her and saying, "You're only giving me 5 days." And she said, "No, we purchased our family home in North Carolina, and it's going to be becoming our permanent home." They look forward to their new southern adventures. On behalf of the school district, I just want to pay our respects to Mrs. Nussbaum and her family, and Mr. Smith and his family. I do want to just mention that the district has heard through the family, and they have requested that there will be no flowers or cards or calls to be received at this time to the Nussbaums. They will plan a celebration of life in Massachusetts at a later time and date. So if we take a moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to EBCAM for always recording our meetings. We have our student rep here this evening. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How's the school year going so far?
Good.
That's
Yeah, I'm good.
And you're our senior now.
Junior.
Junior. Oh, you have a ways to go. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Well, welcome back. Do you have any updates for us?
Yes. So the school year is finally up and running, like almost back to normal, which is good. Next week is homecoming week, so it'll start on Monday with the girls' Powder Puff game, which is very exciting. And on Monday, the girls playing in Powder Puff, so the juniors and seniors will go to the middle and central school and read to the younger girls, which I think is a good addition to the day. On Tuesday, there's the bonfire. There's a lot of activities and games going on, and the sports teams will be involved by being announced.
And that starts at 5.
Yes, we'll start at 5. And then throughout the week, there's spirit days and dress-up days, and there's hallway decorating and a lot of fun activities. On Friday, there is the pep rally, which will be at the end of the day on Friday. And Friday is the football game. And then at halftime, homecoming court will be announced. And then the homecoming dance will be on Saturday, October 1st. That's for grades 9 through 12. And that is a conclusion of homecoming week, so that should be exciting. The past week, there was a bunch of class meetings at the high school being completed just about expectations for the school year. So every grade had one, and yeah, I think that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you.
Wait, do you know any of what the Spirit Week looks like, or what
Yeah,
the colors we're supposed to wear, or what we're going
So
to?
Monday is soccer mom versus barbecue dad. Tuesday is
Could you say that again, please?
soccer mom versus barbecue dad.
So that would be, I should dress Dr. Williams in something, and
I'll be
Mr.
the
Shea.
soccer mom, you can be the barbecue dad.
I'll be the barbecue dad, and will Mr. Shea be the barbecue dad. We'll start barbecuing at, what, 9?
10.
10. Okay, Tuesday.
Tuesday is childhood TV shows, so you dress up as your favorite childhood TV character. Wednesday is, I'll think of it. Thursday is 80s fitness, and then Friday is Viking Pride.
Oh my gosh, I want to come.
80s fitness, so we could have Richard Simmons, Jane Fonda.
Well,
Probably nobody knows who those people are.
Jesse
Williams and
Spano.
Jay will come in.
Yeah, there you go.
Jay Phelan will come in. The sweat.
Thank you.
Light crowd.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
The tunics are right there.
I always like hearing from the students, see what's going on in the schools.
And homecoming court is, you said, next
It's decided, but the winner will be announced at halftime.
halftime at the game.
Yes.
And we have subcommittee, standing committees updates. We have, let's see, standing committee to update policy. So we updated 8, the policy subcommittee updated 8 policies last night, and they'll be brought to the October 11th meeting for you guys to look at and hopefully approve or not. And they're just Mass General Law stuff we had to add to them. And then we have, so there's someone on the policy subcommittee who's unable to I can talk today, the time commitment. So I was wondering if there's anyone else who might be interested in being on the policy subcommittee or standing committee to update policy.
I'll be happy to help unless somebody else wants to do it. It's fine by me.
Have a great time.
I would like to have you, Gordon.
I did it once before. It was a lot of fun.
Heard it in your voice. We heard that passion.
I try to keep it low-key.
Settle down, Gordon.
Thinking, should I wait and give everyone else a chance to jump on this?
Take what you need.
Thank you, Gordon, and for the comic relief, too. That was needed. Okay, we have a school committee, the standing committee for school committee goals. We're meeting tomorrow night. And is there any update on the educational, for the, let's see if I can say this 5 times fast, the school committee subcommittee to update educational philosophy?
Well, we were going to meet before tonight's meeting, and then I realized we would have violated some awful law somewhere along the way. I realized we hadn't posted it. It occurred to me at the last minute, like, oh, I wonder if we're supposed to post these. So we'll have to reschedule it. And sort of in preparation for that, I met with Assistant Superintendent Williams just to kind of get her thoughts, and I'll share it with the committee. To me, I'm happy to do whatever we need to do, but I think we should do it in collaboration with the administration since they're the experts. And I think it's exciting. I think we can do this and create a mission, vision, and educational philosophy that kind of all tie together and create a good foundation. Not that we don't already have one, but just one that's a quick reference. And so, but once we get together as a committee, I'll get everybody else's thoughts, and we'll start moving forward.
Thank you, Gordon.
Good.
And the one last thing is the subcommittee to update the Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee is meeting on October 4th. And next up, Superintendent's Corner.
Thank you. The opening schools was uneventful, meaning it was fantastic. We had a great opening at the high school, at the Mitchell School, at the Central School, kids on buses, kids coming in their own cars here at the high school, Central School. The buses were, for the most part, on time. Maybe the Central School a couple days late when we started kindergarten, but other than that, they have been on time, and transportation has been great in that fashion. But we've had an uneventful opening of schools, so we knock on wood for that. And I want to thank all the families, parents, grandparents, everybody for coming out and supporting us to get open on time and safe and healthy. Transportation update. Right now, we're still working on some appeals. The SRO has been out to do safety checks. I had a couple of emails. I know that John and Joanne have a couple of emails, or working on, not just a couple, but many emails that we get. We do the best that we can to provide transportation to school. We look for the safest routes and the safest pickups. And we do the best that we can. We can't pick up every child at their front door. We wish that we could. However, we'll try to do the best that we can, and if we have to move a stop or two, we'll do the best that we can in that. Food, cafeteria, and the transportation forms, keep sending them in. If you haven't filled out your forms, please send them in for free and reduced lunch and transportation. We just need that those forms be filled out. We have Smiley Fries at the elementary school, which is a great thing, and Asian Fusion Chicken is back at the high school. It is a big hit because they brought some down, and John loved it, and the kids love it. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest days that they have for selling at the high school. But do you like it, the Asian Fusion?
It's really
yeah,
good.
it's really good. It's like, yeah, it's very good. With athletics, if you haven't been to a football game, a girls' soccer game was out there today. I was out there first half. We were tied 1-1. I don't know what it ended up out there, but it's really exciting, not only for girls' soccer, girls' volleyball, boys' soccer, boys' football, to be out there, and the fans. The kids are going to games, which is so important to be involved in your school, whether you're at Mitchell School or Central School. Bill Clements, the principal of the high school, sent out an email to the principals at Central and Mitchell and invited the schools to come up, and they are starting to talk about those events on the morning announcements, and we're sending some Parent Squared information home because we want the entire school community to be involved in the events that go on. For athletics. There's 315 student athletes at this time. That's a great number. If you haven't been to a football game or you haven't been around after school to listen to the band outside, they have been working extremely hard, and they sounded terrific I think it was Thursday night against, was it Thursday at West Bridgewater, when West Bridgewater's here? 2 Thursdays ago. Our band sounded like it was an 800-piece band. They were super, very loud, a lot of fun. The kids, the fans participated with them, so that's even better. It's nice. And I know at the last meeting we asked if we have filled the music teacher position. We have at Mitchell School, so that is a filled position. You have an updated personnel list packet. We've filled all positions at this time. I just finished the last 2 today, so we are in good, we have a couple instructional support assistants that we are working on filling. The only thing I can say to you, and I know you see an occupational therapist up there still in red, we contract services right now with 2 of the collaboratives that we work with. We have the math teacher in. The adjustment counselor, as I was talking to Mrs. Fiddler tonight, just because this is her area of expertise, talking about adjustment counseling. That is a very difficult position at this time. If you're watching anything about schools or even businesses, they're hiring social workers, behavioral specialists, BCBAs. It's very difficult to get them, but we have an idea, and I actually had a nice conversation with Ms. Filler, so thank you for your expertise on that, and we'll bring you some more information as we move forward.
One quick question about this. The list of resignations, are those brand new resignations?
No.
Oh, okay.
So,
Just to piggyback on Ellen's question, when did these come in? Because I know because I happen to have the last meeting's agenda in my mailbox today, too.
I think
I know we
Kelly
had a
forgot to
list.
put the date on them, but Jackie Clifford was in August. The occupational therapy was in August. Courtney Martin left the first, August 30th. The robotics was the first day of school.
Okay. That's what I was curious about, to see if they were.
Yeah, I was surprised. I just saw this as I was coming out.
Yeah.
That she didn't put the dates on it, but.
I mean, that's fine. I was
Yeah.
just,
And the instructional assistants, I will tell you this, we had 2 instructional assistants that we hired last Monday. So they said they went back to their job to give them 2 weeks' notice. The job gave them more money to stay.
yeah.
So it's not, I can tell you this, it's not for us not even trying to then come back and say, but I have a contract, I also have contracts with all of these associations that I can't move off of. The instructional sports, those are the ones that are sort of, the first one that you see, that was just last week, found a position for more money. Same thing on the second one, the one at Gordon Mitchell, the BCBA and the occupational therapist, she went to, one went to a collaborative that works, and one of them received their master's degree in BCBA, behavioral therapy, went to a collaborative. So, because they can do consulting work and work at the collaborative at the same time. So, yeah, I'll make a note on that. I thought the dates,
I was just curious.
I didn't even,
Because I know we had met last time so close to the first day of school. I was kind of like, oh, crap, when did these come in?
yeah,
Yeah.
if I get a resignation in May, we're on it by the next week.
Yeah.
It's going on School Spring, it's on Indeed, it's on every website that we can put it on. We send it over to Bridgewater State. We do the best that we can, but we're full now, and we're holding on. I've talked to other districts, and I think pretty much everybody's starting to get to that point where this is where you're going to stay. So hopefully, knock on wood, we're going to be okay in moving on. We're always going to have some maternity leaves in the year, so. Parents Squared, just a quick comment on Parents Squared. Behind the scenes, our new communications coordinator is doing a terrific job. The Parents Squared app itself, I think, is very easy to use. I think instructional-wise, when Josh comes in to work with people to show them how to use it, it's been very well accepted by staff and to learn how to use it and who's sending out messages. But it's also a very clear way for us to send messages to parents. And the one thing that I know that Dr. Williams and I like the most about it is we can delineate between Central School, Mitchell School, the high school, and then our messages. And we have made it very clear to the schools that unless it pertains just to your school, let the central office do it. Let us do it up here. When it pertains just to the school, it's much better. We're getting less and less calls or emails that are that parents are confused of. I didn't, you have curriculum night Thursday night at the high school. Well, that's what's going. Is that the central school too? Well, no, that one hasn't come out yet. So I think the program is working to what we wanted it to do for us is to really streamline our communications with our community members, our parents. And it also it's a nice quick way to get out. Bus L is going to be late today, or whatever, or A, or so. A bus, B bus. So it's been good. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to Parents Squared, but I just wanted to
The
update
attendance
it.
tracking now is the new component.
Can I ask a procedural question about this?
Sure, I'll try to answer.
So, I get it. I think there's been a little bit of confusion because my understanding is that we don't report the absence anymore. We wait for Parent Square to tell us our kid isn't at school, and then we fill in the note there, or?
So either way, each school has a protocol for reporting an absence from the parent. So Central School, I think it's, you dial the main office and there's an extension, you leave it. Maybe at each school they have. So what I've asked of each school is that they still have a procedure in place that if parents want to proactively report, then they'll put it in the system so the parent won't get that notice. However, oftentimes parents just kind of lose track of the day as they're caring for a sick child. That's just a prompt, and obviously if the parent doesn't know they're out, it's to let them know that they're not appearing in class. So their parents can still be proactive in reporting those, and they'll go into the system so that parents won't get that message.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
May I interrupt to make a note?
Sure.
There's 3 of the microphones that don't have the green around them, and so I just was noting if there's any audio issue.
Yours is one of them. I don't think anyone can hear you.
Getting batteries.
Okay.
So I'm trying to streamline the meetings a little bit, so I think that if there's any questions that has anybody heard or anything, again, I'm going to start, I'll prompt on Mondays, like I did last night, if you hear of anything or you want to ask a question, so that I can bring it, so that if it is a community question or you wanted to bring something forward, just try to streamline a little bit better.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Sorry, I just want to, we don't need a definitive answer or anything right now, but where we left last time about the music conversation, I'm assuming that kind of, we talked about a lot of the challenges with scheduling and things, so I'm assuming that like that's something that will like continue to be discussed with this new person and things. I didn't know how that like wrapped up. I didn't, yeah.
So the position at the Mitchell School.
Has been filled, yep,
It has been filled as of today.
yep.
It is a teacher that left another district, a brand-new teacher that left another district that wanted to come here.
Yep.
I spoke to Mrs. Pavlov.
Mhm.
We had a big conversation. She certainly understands the constraints that we talked about, because she went through them here at the high school. So when we talked about it, the same thing's happening at the Mitchell School, I think she sort of understood. It was like, I didn't realize this is what was happening. Because when you don't live it, you don't see it. Because her enthusiasm and her energy for it is right on. It's just, we've got to figure out how to fit everything into a round hole, with square peg into a round hole right now. The schedule will not change this year. When we talked about changing the schedule, I can't change it on a dime. I couldn't change it in the same year. We're looking down the road, and we also talked about doing intramural music, intramural athletics, intramural anything at the Mitchell School. We're trying to get more kids involved after-school activities. We know that we have the before and after. We know we have the before and after classes. We know we have, they offer programs, but there's some programs that they don't, so we would offer them. But what happens, let me explain what happens in the music, because I think that's maybe we didn't get to. Each teacher gets an unassigned block, and if you're going to teach individual students for an instrument, what was happening was the music teacher the general music teacher would say to the person who's going to teach the instrument, I'll take your general music class today, and then tomorrow you take mine. So somebody would lose
Right.
or unassigned in the day.
Yep.
And they've been doing it like that for years because they want to support and promote band and music, which I want to support. If we need another music teacher, that may be what we need to look at moving down the line.
Yeah.
This young woman that's going to start with us, she's going to start,
Assessing.
no, she's going to start Monday. No, she's going to get a schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And that schedule is going to be exactly what Mr. Frazee had last year and what he was going to have going into the 22-23 school year. So that's really what was happening is, the general music teacher, when she does chorus, John Frazee, until we get this new teacher out, I won't use the name, but, because I'm waiting for the packet from the other school district. John Frazee would go in and teach her general music class. vice versa.
Yep.
So that's what we're trying to avoid. So we may have to, maybe down the road, and this is what I said to Linda, I said, maybe we need to look at either extending the school day for music and offering a late bus, so kids could be part of the band, or do, band after school. Or maybe we need to hire a .5 music teacher. And that's something that we'll assess this year, and the schedule will pan out. I think the conversations that Dr. Williams, myself, and Jay Fallon are having, especially about inclusion and moving more into a broader inclusion, where we're not pulling students out of classrooms and we're really going in, having the inclusive teaching model, where both teachers in a classroom are regardless of what they represent, whether it's the general ed or the special education teacher, both will be teaching the class. Our kids need to be in the classrooms when the math lesson is being given, when the English lesson's being given, when the history lesson's being given, when the science lesson. Can't pull a student out at those times. So there are holes in that schedule that I see, that I saw before, that Mr. Gentile and I would go back and forth about. Mr. Paquette, again, I say this, he's doing a terrific job down there. He comes with a high school background. So he is a good scheduler, and he's seeing that where the pockets are, and he's moving things to make sure that everybody has equity across the line, both kids and teachers. These are grade 3 through 6. They need activity, they need movement, they need music, they need to be challenged, they need to be, but they also need to exercise, they need to get outside, they need to get inside. So lots of things are going down. I think we're going to see a lot of great things happening. But that's really what the music position was. And I mean, he may come back and say, I figured it out. We don't need that anymore. I think we can do it this way. Yeah. But the specials is where the grade teachers, the math, social studies, science, and English teachers get their unassigned blocks from.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I assumed would have happened based on our conversation.
Yep.
I know that like this position seemed to exacerbate or bring to light like some of the existing challenges, and I think based on our conversation, I assume that the district would have support from the community and the committee if this came up around budget time. Let's have a conversation or something. So
Sure.
Just wanted to.
I mean, I would look at John on this. I mean, I don't think there's a day that Mrs. Pavlov, Mrs. MP does not come in and ask, I need some support with this, I need some
And we've
support.
been increasing.
We have increased
support, for sure.
that. We believe in, I bought the band, we were one of the groups to say, put these kids in new uniforms. We wanted the kids in new uniforms. We want them to go to Great East. We want them to go in every parade from here to Nantucket and back. We want to have our kids sing, at the Great East or play in the Jazz Festival. I don't think I miss many of the concerts. We have a great music program. No one wants to lose the music program. I'm concerned that there would even be a hint of anyone thinking that my administration isn't supporting music.
I don't think that's what the
No.
discussion was last. That was not my intent.
Okay, I'm just saying to you
Yeah.
that from my point of view, we support music, we support athletics, we support drama. They're different entities. They have it's a different venue. But they should all complement each other. I mean, the drama had football players in there the other night trying out for a High School Musical. So, I mean, I think everybody's back into it. But, yeah, I think that we have 8 specials down at Mitchell School. When I first came here, there were 4.5. Now there's 8. So we're trying to do the best that we can, regardless if it's music, sports, wherever it comes from. Whether it be VOTEC education. I mean, this building was built, with graphic arts. And Bill Clements is even looking into that, because some of those vocational classes are not running. So, I mean, there are pockets that, now, as we keep digging as a district and as this administration, we still see gaps and we still see holes, and we'll fix them as they come. This music position happened to come at a time right at the beginning of the school year, with no anticipation for it. There was, which happens. I mean, it happens. But what happened is we found that there's a loophole, that there's a hole. And but yeah, the support is there. I mean, if it means getting another music teacher, and Mrs. Mancini-Pavlov and Mr. Paquette can come through and advocate for that position and tell us why, then we would certainly bring it to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going back to Parent Square. I don't know if you all noticed, but there was a notification that we had a school committee meeting tonight. So, my question to you.
I didn't get one.
You don't get it?
I get.
It was sent out to the families. There's two options. You can choose the staff option and the family option. So I chose the family option.
Okay.
Oh, maybe Gordon didn't get it either then.
I'm not on Parent Square.
Oh.
I have to do that. Just
I
make
guess-
that note.
We can talk to the person that oversees it to see if we can create a group.
Okay, thank you.
So, my question to you all is, when would you like the notification of our school committee meeting to come out? Would you like it to come out the week before, the Sunday night before? When would you like it to come out? And how many times would you like it to come out?
Just the once, I think. Well, no, speaking from a place of like,
parent
when you have
receiving.
kids in multiple schools and in multiple groups, at some times you're like, whoa, let's calm down for a minute. But I think definitely a couple days in advance. I want people to have a chance to, it should be after the agenda's posted.
So like the Friday night or the Sunday night?
I could put it on the marquee on the Sunday night. School committee, Tuesday, 6:30.
was earlier, it could signal people to look for the agenda to see if they wanted to come. If I, on a Sunday night, was notified to attend something on a Tuesday, there is like a maybe 0.5% chance.
Yeah, my week is
that
laid out by
that I
Sunday.
don't have something already scheduled. And if I don't have something scheduled, it is on purpose to sit still for a minute. So I don't want to put something in, right? So I think a little bit sooner
Friday night?
could be helpful.
Or Thursday
But I
night?
also think if we direct people on where they can find the meetings ahead of time, that's helpful, right?
Yes.
But I would think maybe a little before, and then it could alert people to pay attention to the agenda and see if they'd like to attend.
Could always just
thought.
post the entire schedule.
Well, we do have it posted. It's on
Right,
the
saying,
website,
just
and
post it
then the
right away
town.
and then say we'll update like a week in advance of meetings.
Yeah, the town calendar posts are, they,
And it's on the website. It's on the
yes,
school
and it's on
website.
the EBPS website,
Yeah.
yep. And then we just,
Plenty of chances to know when we're gonna meet.
that's right.
I love the notification. I would default to my friends who get a lot more notifications than I do on scheduling, but.
Okay.
The marquee is really what pushes.
Well, I know you,
So-
some people on the committee, I don't know who, but people on the committee wanted the people to be
I think it was me.
reminded.
Sure.
So I
No, I
just,
think if we want to
important.
encourage community participation, we need to walk the walk.
so does everybody want it to go like on a Friday night at like, say, 3, 2, 4? Because it can be scheduled. They can schedule whenever we want it to go.
Can we do it Friday? I wouldn't look at an email on Friday night. That would be me, but.
So the beautiful thing about Parent Square is that if you have the app, it gives you a signal, but also it connects to whatever email you have, and if your email gets notified on your phone, or if it's like me and you have 3 emails or something, then you get 3 notifications immediately that you have a message in Parent Square, right? So if you are on Parent Square, you're going to see right on your phone that you have an alert.
I get a text, an email.
So I think there's plenty of
Digest
opportunity
people.
to get that and even to glance at it.
I can make I mean, we could send it out, we could send the agenda out Friday, once we post it, and it goes up to Town Hall. I can put it out in Parent Square. And then on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I can send a notification reminder, school committee meeting at 6:30 p.m.
Beautiful.
I mean, that way it puts the agenda out, you have all weekend to look at it, and then Tuesday, you know that it's up.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. And next up, that was all you had, Superintendent?
That's it.
Okay. Next up, we have reports and discussions. So we have school committee operating protocols. And I was going to bring it to the last meeting that we had, but then someone sent me an email with a couple of questions, and I said, I never thought about those two things. Like, nobody ever brought those up. So I took a pause and held it until this meeting, and I made one change, and then I left one to discuss. So have you all had a chance to review? We can go line by line, or I can just bring up the two questions that the person had, or it's up to you all how you want to do this.
I've already read through it, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, so one question, this is on the, there's an original one, and then there's an updated one with a red addition of text and then a strikeout. Under meetings and agendas, the last bullet for those of us who need to keep their phone on, because it read, let me see, turn off all personal devices unless being used for the business of a meeting. That's the original line. And then it was Becky Fiddler who sent me the questions. That was very good of her. She said, I just summarized very briefly.
Yes.
So you can add to it if you want to. For those of us who need to keep their phone on, the bullet has been changed. That was very, very succinct. So I just changed it to say, and if you guys wanted to say something different, you can just say the word, silence and put away personal devices unless being used for the business of a meeting. And the reason is because, so if you have your phone on the table and you're texting or using your phone, it can be considered an open meeting law violation because we're in an open meeting, but you're on your phone, and so that could be a violation, so.
And it would be a violation because it could be looked at as we were communicating with
Yes.
another member.
Correct.
While we were in a meeting.
Correct.
That would be why
So-
it would be suspicious.
Right.
Right.
So what someone should do is get up and, if you have a text or a phone call or something, you should remove yourself from the table and like go off camera over there somewhere and do what you need to do. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you know, never in all my years of being on the committee, since we've had these operating protocols, not one person ever brought that up,
I am
ever.
just bringing my annoying self, right?
No, but that was
From the
good.
beginning.
I said, you know, she has a good, you have a valid point. Because, you know, there's emergencies and we have kids, you know.
There's a lot of tools on phones now too, like I can set my phone to only like come through if it's like basically my husband or kids, so,
Oh, I don't have that.
yeah.
We'll have to talk.
Did we even do
Stuff,
this
yeah,
last
I'll show
year?
you if you want.
Apparently
Did we even
it's
do this
signed.
last year?
We
We
did,
did, but
it
I
was
don't remember.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Tim just went over it very quick and that was it.
What was the other change you made? You said
The
you
other
made one
question?
change and then there was one to discuss.
Yeah, the other one was, under the rules section, so let me go to rules.
Rolls.
Oh, rolls up top.
Oh, rules.
Yeah, it was the rolls
That's
one.
my eyesight. Okay, I need new glasses, I guess. I thought it said rules. Okay, so under the rules section, it says, "We will model continuous learning in our roles as members of the governance team." So, Becky asked, she wanted to know basically, what that referred to and if we should be more specific. And so what it refers to is our workshops, charting the course, the conference, anything we use to educate ourselves as far as our roles as school committee members. And so not everybody can attend everything. I mean, we're all required to do charting the course. And so we could either A, leave it generalized, knowing what it means, we will model continuous learning in our roles as members of the governance team, or be more specific.
May I add my thought with this? So my thought on the being specific was that if I was a community member for some reason wanting to understand the operating protocols, and I questioned how is someone continuously learning their role as a school committee member, it would be left open to an interpretation. And so that feels like it's also not in line with what we're looking to do with making sure that things are measurable and understandable by all, right, when it comes to goals and things of that nature. So
We could say.
even if it was
such
something like
as.
parentheses,
Yep, such
workshop,
as.
something, you know,
Yep.
I don't think it has to be rewritten completely. I think that it would just be more direct communication for people to understand what it means, what is continuous learning, because I wouldn't assume everybody thinks it's the same thing.
So what if we add in the parentheses, such as workshops, charting the course, and, what was the,
Conference.
and conference?
I would also say participation in regular meetings, because like I learn a lot every meeting, because I would take this also as like learning about our role, but also our role is learning about what's happening in the schools, right? Like attending regular meetings, going to, participating in subcommittees, all that other stuff. That's my interpretation, but.
Okay. So say, such as workshops, charting the course, conferences, and attending regular meetings. Anything else?
Can you write et cetera? So there's also room for something else. maybe.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Added.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on anything else on these operating protocols? No? Okay.
I have a question on the second bullet under communication.
Yeah.
The superintendent and the school committee recognize the importance of a proactive proactive communication and agree that there will be no surprises. So I think that we can't necessarily foresee that, and I'm wondering, like, surprises at the meetings and how, like.
Well, what that means, so that was, so years ago, before we had the operating protocols, what we tried to do, and Liz can expand upon this too if she wants to, is that if you have questions or if there's things you know about in advance of a school committee meeting and you're wondering something, to ask, so that way they can get prepared and have the answer for you, instead of, like, if you ask them a question at the meeting, if it's okay if you have questions at the meeting, don't feel like you can't ask questions, because that's not what we want. We want you to ask questions, but if you have a question before the meeting, and then if you ask, then we might be able to be prepared with the answer if we don't have it.
Yeah, sorry. I think that's how, like, having my experience, I would interpret that. I don't know that that's, like, how it reads, but that might just be me. The other thing is, like, well in advance to me means a couple days. We get the agendas on Fridays, and I don't know if we want to, like, define that more, like, in as much advance as possible, or I don't know if that
Do you
matters.
not see the agenda after Ellen does it on Tuesday with me?
No, we don't.
Oh, it comes on,
Okay, I can send the agenda out on Wednesday if you would like.
well, that's usually a
Chair,
rough draft,
and-
like, it's not usually fully done.
Well, right, but what I'm saying
Label it as
is, I'll
draft.
send it out on Tuesday, after you tell me what you want on the agenda, and we discuss it. I'll send it out, and if you want to put something on the agenda, then you can send it back and talk to the chair. If she agrees with you, send it back to me, and I'll have Kelly redo it.
I
That
like
would be
that idea,
great.
because then there's more input.
Well, then, if there's something you want to hear about, you can email.
Right, because I've always considered whether or not this was correct, anything on the agenda, like fair game, not fair game, but like, it's appropriate to ask questions about things around the agenda. I always kind of took no surprises to mean like something coming out of left field, like, whoa, we weren't planning on discussing this tonight. That's not something we're going to bring up at the meeting because that's not fair. But I like having the opportunity after, the rough draft of the agenda has come out, to kind of be like, oh, by the way, I was thinking about this. Because otherwise, I'm not gonna, it's just not something that's ever gonna cross my mind.
It's your meeting. If you tell me what you want, I'll do what you want. I'm offering a suggestion. I could put it on the Google Drive, you could send it out, I would put it in a highlight, we want to add this, Liz, take this off, I don't think we need to talk about this again, we need to add this. I would certainly make sure that Ellen is notified, as she's the chair, and then, Liz, what's ready to go, and then we'll print it out.
Yeah, I would think that, like, so you would
We meet
put it out.
Tuesdays, right? Ellen, is it
Yeah,
Tuesdays?
usually,
Yeah.
except for in November where you have something going
Yeah.
on and we have to meet on a Monday.
So I liked the plan to
You'll
send
send
it
out
out
the
after
drive.
you guys do it, and then we could communicate through Ellen, that way there's not 17 different
Perfect.
things going on, if
should
everybody
be
likes that idea.
Should be stated and understood that by such and such a date, a time, date, you got to give her feedback, like Thursday night at
Thursday by 12.
12.
Yeah.
So that it can be incorporated.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, it has to be, because so usually Barbara used to, because Kelly's still getting into the rhythm of it, she used to try and get it done by the end of the day Thursday, so it could get posted and out, because sometimes town hall isn't even open on Friday, but usually they're open and they close at noon, but they don't want to get anything at 11:55.
Right.
If we get it at Thursday at noon, it gives us enough time if there needs to be changes or I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you so much for that
I just,
suggestion.
anytime you need something, just ask, because if you don't tell me, then I don't know. So that, I mean, no one's ever asked that.
Right, and I just think part of having this discussion, this is why I
Perfect.
like being able to talk about things.
Sure.
Because then
Yeah,
come up
just
with.
tell me
things
what you
that
want.
Are better.
And this is, I think we've had other discussions at our workshops as a committee about like really understanding our role, especially in like the chaos of the last 2 years. And so I would maybe ask, or I don't know, suggest, see about some thoughts on maybe just pausing on officially accepting these tonight and maybe setting up a workshop to talk through so that we could ask Liz some questions, get some suggestions, because I think for me, every time we can have these kind of more open discussions, and I don't want to take everyone's public time, but I learn a lot, and I think like we have these ideas that I would never think of.
I just want to reiterate this, that by law, this is a private meeting in public. This is your meeting. The only time anybody that can ask a question is if they come in and they pose a question to the agenda. So they would have to come in, sign in, state where they're from, put a time frame on it, or, and so, and then you give them time. You can have these discussions as long as you put it on the agenda, and maybe you want to start with that. After the opening, after Lilia does the notes from the schools, maybe you want to have a discussion on protocol this week, a suggestion on that. Because it is, it is your meeting. And I'm really just I just facilitate the agenda for you.
So if we had a workshop on the operating protocols, because you said something recently about a workshop on, just like school committee stuff.
Yeah, I think.
We could get Jim Hardy or someone, a field rep, to come and do one, and whenever you guys want to do one, and whatever they, that conducive to their schedule.
I don't know, maybe this is like, this one bullet, I think like, was, I appreciated this conversation and like an action item from it. I don't know if there's any other questions we have on these, if any other feels that way, but, if it's just this bullet and it's just me, this is fine, but.
Well, I think that the fact that, like, even you bringing up the question of one bullet produce this much of a conversation and an action item means there's a problem with the bullet, right? Like, if it's up to interpretation, then it's not understood. So I think that should be looked at, right? Like, if it's something that created an entire conversation.
So would you all like to have a workshop?
I know.
Gotta come.
I think we should get back to handling school committee business at these school committee meetings and not always schedule individual sessions for one-offs. And I agree with this point, this is an exceptionally vague bullet, because it doesn't say, what does well in advance mean, questions and concerns related to the agenda, or just questions and concerns about East Bridgewater Public Schools. So I think that needs to be fleshed out. I wouldn't sign this as is, because it's too vague. I just don't think we need to dedicate like next Thursday night for 3 hours to beleaguer every single point, because it seems like a couple of things could be cleaned up, maybe throw on the agenda for our next meeting and have some time to maybe take a few passes at it.
I wonder also if we should revisit this after we have the school committee goals meeting?
Yeah, we could do that too.
Well, and then, because, right, all these other workshops we're talking about, like, align to goals, make them measurable, like, maybe that produces some additional thoughts on this?
Is there an urgency to having this signed? I mean, it would
No.
be silly, okay.
Okay.
I was just thinking for timeline purposes, because I know we're not having that meeting for a couple weeks. So.
Yeah.
Oh, the goals one?
No, goals is tomorrow.
Our goals is tomorrow.
Marathon week.
It's all on the
Marathon
calendar,
week.
I'll show up, I just don't know what we're talking about at any given moment.
That was kind of my point, though.
So we're gonna table.
Yeah, exactly, like, yeah, no, I don't.
So we're tabling this until a future meeting.
We could,
I think it just
October
goes on, I
11th.
think it just goes on the agenda.
I would say the
for
agenda for
sussing
October
something out.
11th
Okay.
to correct the protocols.
Right,
Okay.
and then you can come up, or someone can come up with a draft new bullet between now and then and include it in the back.
One, I can take a pass at it.
Sure.
I don't do that often, so.
Because all we're doing is making
Do it.
the
That would be
vagueness
marvelous.
specific, right? So it shouldn't be.
And then if
So-
anything new,
Make specific.
Yeah, and if anybody has any comments, then after they pass through it and want me to add it, just,
and if anything new comes up in the goals, we'll bring it up at the next meeting too.
great.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, Liz. Thank
So you're just gonna do it and bring it back to the next meeting, and then we'll? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for offering to do that. And then we have strategic plan and business meeting calendar. This is our tentative year-long calendar, and it will, it could change. Things could be added.
I just want to add that it's not a workshop. It'll say strategic plan number 1 for October 11th, strategic plan number 2, November 15th, on the left-hand side of the paper.
Oh, yeah.
Those are your strategic plans.
Got it.
And then on the other side, the business meetings. So the first meeting of the month will be based on the strategic plan and the direction of the district. And then the second meeting of the month will be business, should be very quick. Those will be the warrants, talking about fiscal.
Can I ask a question? With regard to the strategic plan.
Yes.
Bullet points, I'm assuming that since it's referenced, the bullet points are referenced in the first part of the year, and then there's a second reference by the year end, that at the first one, we're told, or you share with us, okay, this is the plan, this is what we're working on, and by the end of the year, we'll get a report back, yeah, hey, we're able to accomplish this and this is still an issue we still have work to do on?
Yes.
Is that the concept? Oh, great, excellent. Yeah, so I think what's helpful is when we're listening to a presentation is say, here's what we're gonna do, and here are the issues we're trying to address, to the extent they can be bullet pointed out. And then on the subsequent follow-up meeting, say, hey, we were able to take care of all these bullet points, we're in good shape now, this is what we did, or we did 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 4, whatever it might be, just so we can kind of get a sense of, okay, this is the target, this is where we ended up, and if we weren't able to do them all, we'd know why, so.
And again, we stopped doing that during COVID, and now we're getting back to that.
Good.
Remember, we did the last one, we had 4 bullets, now we have 3, because we put 2 into 1, and then in January, we would come and say, this is a summary of what we've done for the first half of the year. And give you an update then, and then we'll move on. That's on the strategic plan, the other side is the business meeting. That'd be our finances, budget committee reports, town meeting, when that date is, when our public hearing will be, those types of things will be on the business side.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. And next up, we have the public comment period. And is anyone here for public comment? No? Sure, could,
High school accredited, like that review app,
5 years.
every 5 years?
Yep. And we have an extension right now.
So 2018, we were put on notice, right, for probation? So we're still working through those action items, and then will it be 23 that it's reviewed?
By the end of in January, he'll send, I believe he'll send in his last report, and we should hear by the end of the school year. We look like we're in good shape to be accredited.
That's just for the high school, right? That report, or the junior high school?
Yeah, and we had an update last spring or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember,
he's now on track, or the high school is now on track. Bill Clement's got a good handle on it now. He's working with his liaison to the NEASC accreditation group, and he's got his meetings that he's meeting with people here. I know he's got a parent council now, which we didn't have for a while, and so I think he's moving in the right direction.
and we'll get an update whenever, in a few months, weeks, month, whatever.
I can tell you right now, I would say that,
January.
give him a month. give them a month, or a little bit longer. Just
Okay.
because, just opening up the high school is just
Right.
a lot going on.
When do you, and I know this is totally, is there a due date that he needs to have all of that done by?
I believe it's January. It's his first. Will be everything completed, maybe before then. He's got to get everything in by January, and then they have like almost, it's a pretty long review that they do. But it goes in by, he doesn't put it all in at once, so he'll,
Right.
you know, it's vision of the graduate, we agree to put on it, and he'll keep putting it in until it's prepared.
So maybe after Thanksgiving sometime?
I would think you would see him before, probably November,
Okay.
and he'll give you
We'll have
a
it
full
up.
update on that.
Yeah, at a future meeting.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have to do another site visit, do we, for this? No, that's good.
At this time, I would take a motion to approve the minutes from the June 28th, 2022 and August 23rd, 2022 school committee meetings.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second?
second by Gordon, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I take a motion to approve accounts payable warrants 10 SV dated 8/31/22 and 11 SV dated 9/7/22 and 13 SV dated 9/21/22.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I take a motion to approve accounts payable, payroll warrant 10 PS dated 8/31/22 and 12 PS dated 9/14/22.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Scott, all in favor?
Can we discuss it for a
Sure,
second?
sure.
Okay. Well, I think we discovered earlier on in the meeting that in our packet, we haven't been typically getting the payroll warrant. I think, I didn't see it in mine. And so if we can have that as part of our package, so we can see it. And then, I forget, what was the name at the top of the page that was
Subsidiary,
Su-
we're questioning that.
subsidiary, whatever name is at the top of the page there, John, I don't remember seeing that name before. It just doesn't say payroll warrant, it says payroll subsidiary warrant or something like that. I didn't know what was referring, if there was a reason
That's
for
what he's
that.
talking about.
Oh, Gordon, are those?
Yeah, do
Oh.
you know what you're talking about?
Was it in
It's
the-
in there.
Yeah, it says payroll subsidiary warrant report. I don't remember seeing that name before.
Yeah, I can look into it.
Okay. And I just said, it wasn't part of my package, so it's always nice to be able to see it.
I don't know why, but traditionally, they have never included payroll warrants in your packets.
Oh, really?
And I don't have a reason for that.
Oh, okay,
I usually accounts payable, not payroll,
yep,
so I'm not really sure.
okay.
I thought maybe it's because there was names associated with it, but when I looked at the before the meeting tonight,
Right.
that's not the case.
Yeah,
That would be my concern. I wouldn't want to, but if it's not there, then it's.
yeah, I mean, I don't mind approving something as long as I get to see it, instead of just signing it sort of without being able to review it, so. And all I do is just look at the direct payroll number, look at that as times 26, does that put us right around our budget? Unless it's really bizarre, then I might have a question.
And
but
John gives you that
always
too
is.
in that report on the business
Yeah.
meeting? Okay.
Yep,
All right.
thank you.
But if you want both, so you want the payroll warrant number? Okay.
Okay, I'm done with the questions I had.
Thank you.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that unanimous? I didn't notice. Okay, thank you. And I would take a motion to approve the home education plans for the attached list of students for the 22-23 school year, and Superintendent Legault recommends approval of the home education plans. Superintendent Williams, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Williams has reviewed these education plans, and Superintendent Legault recommends them, and I'm sure that Dr. Williams recommends them also. So I would take a motion.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this a process that happens annually? So
Yes.
that's why there's names I recognize from the last time we looked at these? Okay.
Yes, every year, at the end of every year, they need to submit evidence of progress, and then they reapply for the
For the
following.
following year, okay.
And it seemed like there was a lot of names. Is that an unusual number? It's like
It's not.
35?
Actually, it's interesting, the numbers did go up during COVID, and we had higher numbers since COVID, but I am having a lot more conversations with families that it's more so they're looking for alternative education opportunities since coming out of COVID, and now
Okay.
I seem to be supporting more families with what to use for homeschooling, so it's more they know they're not suited for traditional learning, as opposed to families having a passion for homeschooling.
Okay.
So, which is fine. I'm more than happy to support families with identifying curriculum resources and materials. But I have noticed during COVID and since COVID, we do have higher numbers of students engaging in homeschool, most doing online learning.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we had a motion by.
We didn't have a motion.
Oh, okay. So I would take a motion to approve and that's where we stopped. Moved by Scott,
Second.
second by Amanda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, thank you.
Did we miss the bandsaw one above?
Yes. Amanda happened to mention it, thank you. So I would take a motion to approve the sale of surplus bandsaw from the East Bridgewater Junior Senior High School.
So moved.
Just to clarify, that's not used by the band.
I was looking at it, trying to understand that
Did
one a
have
bit.
that question, right?
We had a thing on dad jokes earlier.
Oh, yeah, you missed our dad joke conversation.
So you want to buy it? Want the bandsaw?
Scott moved it and Amanda seconded, that's what,
I moved, I don't think we had a second.
okay, Amanda moved it, and who seconded?
Second.
Thank you, Lauren. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. And I would take a motion, hold on one second, let me get my thing. I move that the school committee meet in executive session not to be returning to open session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for purpose to conduct a strategy session in preparation for contract negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the superintendent of schools. So at this time, I would take a roll call vote. Pennington, aye.
Colligan, aye.
Foster, aye.
Fiddler, aye.
Walker, aye.
McKinnon, aye.
And it's unanimous, and, so the motion has passed the school committee, did I even vote myself? Did I? Oh, I don't even know. The motion has passed, the school committee will now meet in executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for purpose to conduct a strategy session in preparation for contract negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the superintendent of schools. The school committee will not be reconvening in open session. Thank you, and, motion to close this open session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by, Lauren, and second by Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.